Tokenomics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenomics.com. Disclaimer: Tokenomics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Tokenomics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenomics.com/disclosures.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today we have a very special guest. We have Monty Metzger, who's the CEO of LCX. They're building a security token exchange. So without further ado, we would like to welcome him on the show. Monty, how are you?
Hello, Ian. Hello, everybody. I'm very well. I'm fine, and I'm greeting you from the heart of Crypto Valley. I'm in our office in Zug today.
All right, it's a pleasure. So, welcome on the show, the 100X show. So we'll be taking questions directly from the audience. This is going out to both YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook. This also gets turned into a podcast as well. So be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video to just kind of expand the reach as we take crypto mainstream and evangelize crypto to the world. So if you have any questions you would like to ask, please go to menti.com. That's menti.com. Use the code 217946. That's 217946 to submit your questions to Monty. So any question you have in regards to LCX and the exchange, just go directly here and we'll take input directly from the community worldwide. All right, so with that being said, if anybody's having any issues with the audio or anything, just please post in the chat, but everything is fine. Okay, so with that being said, Monty, so tell us, who is Monty Metzger?
So I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and I'm now CEO and founder of LCX, based in Liechtenstein in the heart of Europe. And that's kind of my key focus at the moment. But I had been an entrepreneur since the 90s. I founded a couple of digital internet companies back then. And then when I exited my last company, I started to become an investor. So I started out as a business angel and then turned into a professional venture capitalist. So we had a venture capital fund and we invested in a couple of exciting companies on a very international level. And now I've shifted sides again to start my own venture. And this was 2017, and we incorporated early 2018 with LCX AG, and that's based in Liechtenstein.
Okay. So let's take a step back, right? Back to the 90s. So what was your first company? Can you kind of maybe go into more in depth in terms of why you formed that company, what you were working on, what things you liked about it?
Yeah. So it was actually a time while I had been at my kind of last 2 years at high school in Germany. And we had been hanging out at a friend's advertising agency, and they had super fast Mac computers, Macintosh, Quadra 800, and all like these old models. And we had been hanging out there. And then a client came in and said, we need a website. And the only two who had any clue about any HTML and programming were like me and my friend. So that's where we got started, actually programming basic websites. Did HTML and PHP programming back in the days, and we did start out the first kind of internet agency doing websites for companies.
Okay, right. So pretty much you were building websites very early on.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so what was life then after the .com? So basically there was a .com bubble where there's lots of massive interest and also speculation when it came to investing in .coms and just tech stocks in general. And then it kind of peaked, then it collapsed. But after that collapsed, there were basically a few companies that still ended up winning, right? So kind of talk about that and maybe talk about how that compares to what's happening in blockchain and crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've seen in my career a couple of ups and downs. First of all, the dot-com crash, or the new economy hype, let's say this way. Then also, of course, the financial crisis 2008, and we've seen kind of the rise and fall of value of Bitcoin going up and down. So, I've learned how to differentiate between a fad and like a hype and something which is substantially changing. And that's why I also became so addicted and interested in blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, as I started out kind of exploring the whole field back in 2013. But I immediately kind of noticed that this is something which is here to stay. And looking back to kind of the new economy hype back 2099, there's still a couple of companies who had been tremendously successful, but a lot of them had been replaced. And similar, like 2005, 6, 7, when social media came across, everybody was on Friendster and MySpace, and now kind of Facebook took over the market there. And I assume it will be very similar in this regard. So we've seen the first rise of kind of blockchain and crypto companies, exchanges growing. And I assume for the next 5 to 10 years, these will not be the ones who would be successful. It will be coming a next generation. And we are just in the middle of that, building this kind of next generation of a crypto assets exchange.
Okay. All right. So for those who are just joining, please go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com. Use the code 217946. That's 217946 to ask your questions. So any questions you have for Monty, please go there and put them there. Okay, so Monty, so you mentioned you got into blockchain and crypto in 2013. You said right. So that's pretty early. Kind of walk us through that story of you discovering crypto and just kind of how your life changed.
Yes. So early 2003, I started a futurist company, a future and market research company. So we had been exploring all new technology trends early on. We did reports for large companies. We did a lot of things around e-banking and things for banking institutions as well. And based on that knowledge, and also with the background, I'd been known to be a futurist in that regard. And 2013, we hosted an event in San Francisco called Digital Leaders, where I invited Adam Draper to speak. And he and I, we met previously in the same week around, and I had been exploring Bitcoin and blockchain just like in that whole year. 2013, the price increased dramatically, and then it dropped, I think, from like $1,000 to $100, and everybody thought it's dead. And I published the Bitcoin landscape back in the days with Mt. Gox and wallet providers on my personal blog, monty.de. And then the discussion we had with Adam during the time really accelerated my thinking and brought up, kind of opened my mind and said, okay, it's more substantial than I thought. And we had been exploring with the VC fund then to go into this new asset class. But as a regulated venture capital fund, like 2014, it was basically impossible. I mean, we could take some risk with special purpose vehicles, but with the regulated entity, we could not invest. And now with the rise of new regulatory infrastructure, that was really the triggering point where I see now it's the right time to build the next generation of a crypto assets exchange, which is fully compliant and regulated and takes kind of the whole industry to the next level. And that's the core reason which kind of triggered back 2013, where I said, well, that's interesting, but how can we get started on a more kind of compliant basis? And we could not, and now it's the right time to actually build that. And it's also, I think, now the right time to bring it from kind of a niche market to a mass market. And we see all the development happening in the markets right now. So it's very exciting moment in time, I think.
Okay, well said. So now tell people, what is LCX? exactly. And why is it something they would like to use?
So LCX, first of all, it stands for Liechtenstein Cryptoassets Exchange. So the L in the name comes from our jurisdiction where we're based. We have the headquarter in Vaduz, in the capital town of Liechtenstein, and we chose Liechtenstein because of the regulatory environment. We have there this new blockchain act, which is in full force since January this year, and it gives us the perfect environment as a kind of building a new token economy. So that's the L. And then we spotted the opportunity of security tokens and kind of more compliant and regulated tokens while establishing an infrastructure which could be also used and leveraged for basic utility tokens or payment tokens as well. And thus, we thought about how to enter the market the right way. And we've created a kind of a three-step process. So the first one is what is out in the market at the moment at LCX.com, which is LCX Terminal. And that's a sophisticated trading interface where you can connect up to 16 different exchanges. You have right next to the tradings and markets, you can have a news desk, you have reporting, you have deep analysis of everything, what you do of your portfolio, and then you can trigger trades. And there's also something which got a lot of attention recently, which is LCX Smart Order, where you can trigger trades automatically and then always get the best price across all these exchanges. So that's kind of the first step. We are now at more than 60,000 active users who are all kind of pro traders. So in average, there are 3 exchanges connected and they're all exposed.
How many, sorry? How many people, how many users do you have?
More than 60,000.
More than 60,000? Wow. So in what time frame has that been? About 2 years?
So we started out in June, and so it's now like almost or a little bit in a year. But the big growth really came when we introduced our token, the utility token. So its growth really came from December, January this year, and we saw kind of the last 6 months had been really tremendously successful in that regard.
Okay. Now, what regions do you cater to?
So this is a software as a service technology. So we are not facilitating any trades on ourselves, but you're just managing the crypto assets. So that's why we can offer that on the globe, internationally. So there are no limitations.
So
at the same time,
I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I think what is important to understand. So that's kind of if you're building like an eBay marketplace or kind of a Nasdaq for crypto, you need you need a trading community, and that's what we're building up with LCX Terminal. So we have more than 60,000 people who are all willing to invest and exposed to crypto assets. And now the second phase, which we are now starting, is to tokenize everything we find is interesting on our STO launchpad and launching security token offerings. So build assets. And the third phase is then once we have substantial volumes there, it makes sense to then open up the exchange and then have the marketplace. But building exchange is a chicken egg problem. So you need traders, you need good assets, and then it makes sense to open the trading platform.
Okay.
But an empty eBay is not exciting, and then it's like a filled eBay without any users as well. So that's kind of a...
Well, I mean, so in terms of the STO and the security tokens, that's not software as a service. That's you basically offering that on your platform. Does that have restrictions in terms of jurisdiction?
It does. So it depends on each asset which we are launching. So we've built out a compliant technology platform combined with a legal tool set. And that's pretty important because there are a few kind of white label solutions. If you want to do an STO, you can take their technology, but they leave you in the dark with the legal aspects. And we combine that, and also the kind of the legal aspects are very naturally integrated in the platform itself. So we see that, for example, some compliant elements need to be implemented on a token level or on a platform level, and that's something which we can fulfill. And now we are kind of building up the pipeline for a variety of STOs, and therefore LCX becomes a token issuance platform where we handle and work with the project for all aspects to build a prospectus or a public offering memorandum to kind of the token generation, the token issuing, and then offering it at LCX.com. And one kind of aspect is that all the users who are registered there can then, with a one-click, subscribe to these STOs as well. So everybody who's already verified can then subscribe there. And then it comes down to the jurisdiction level. So some offerings will be only available for the EEA region, the European Economic Area, excluding Asia and US, and some others where we are now exploring to also open up for US citizens and for other jurisdictions as well. But this needs to be taken then project by project.
So could you maybe kind of just recap that? So for people in the US, it's kind of project by project, country by country. Is there a list on the site that kind of shows the different regions, people that can currently use the platform, especially when it comes to the STOs?
So we're just finalizing a few key documents there, which we are reflecting with the regulator and our legal compliance team to publish that. And then once that's announced, you will have a full kind of offering memorandum, kind of a public PPM structure very similar to that, where you can see these countries are allowed, these ones, there are some restrictions, and then you can also review all the terms in detail. We will always structure it in kind of a more summary basis, plus kind of the full legal documents, which is typically between 60 and 100 pages with all the risk exposure and everything.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned you also had a demo for us. So maybe we pull that up. If you have some time.
We'll show this to you.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm now switching.
If you like the demo, definitely be sure to hit the like button and subscribe and share this video.
Excellent. So when you sign up, you first touch point is the accounts page. So that's LCX accounts. You can see that there are currently 3 wallets, which automatically are activated for each user: Ethereum, Bitcoin, and an LCX token, or utility token. And then you can see kind of your account status, and you can also participate in some marketing activities there. Then there is another kind of second section, which is our like mini exchange at the moment. So you can convert and buy LCX token there at any time directly. So that's also actually open for US citizens as of now, and everybody who's verified can then purchase LCX directly in our site at market price. But what is very unique is we've set up a guaranteed minimum value of the token, which is 10 cents. So once you are in the product and you want to pay the subscription, for example, for LCX Terminal, you will then be charged with the value of 10 cents. So for example, the LCX terminal subscription is $290, and you pay 2,900 LCX token for that. So in this way, we have kind of a integrated in a way that the token can be seen as a voucher. So kind of
what? So what time frame is that? The payment, is that annually or? You mentioned 2,000 monthly. Okay.
Monthly, yeah. You can see.
So basically $200 a month to access the platform.
Exactly. So it's 290. But obviously, everybody who is owner of LCX token
has a discount.
Has bought token over here or there gets a huge discount. So at the moment, it's like more than 90% discount on this. So yeah, we don't earn much in that regard, but we earn tokens. So we incentivize really that everybody's using the token in our infrastructure and in our platform.
How's the token earned? Just by trading?
It's just by trading. So you can just buy it as a utility token, either here on our platform or in one of the exchanges, like on liquid.com or in IDEX markets. And then you can use it here at LCX on our platform.
Now the token is a ERC20 token?
It's a standard ERC20 token, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, there's not much special behind it. Yeah.
Okay, continue.
So, and then you jump like from here, you can jump on products, LCX terminal. As you can see, we plan to do a little bit more than just one product. So this is the first one, which is live. And it's a sophisticated trading interface. So you can see, you can connect up to 16 exchanges. So these are kind of the different test accounts we have here. If you go and add exchange, you can simply then choose another exchange you want to connect. And you can see the balance you have in this account as an overview, but you can simply also go into trades and then facilitate different trades on DigiFinex, Binance, whatever exchange you want to do. And then also on markets page, you can do deep analysis of each asset. And let's see if this is loading here the right way. And there, what is very unique, we have the full history, trading history of a particular asset. So you can really go deep into the analysis. You can see it's
so trading via
really,
integration.
so that's one thing. Then next to it, you have the news desk. So you can either see it as a kind of a list of things or with nice tiles. So there's kind of the most important news at your fingertips. You have a detailed reporting page where you can see how the portfolio had been performing. Hopefully it's going up like this all the time. And then what I have been mentioning also, we sometimes do trading competitions. So there's nothing running at the moment. And there's a price alert. And what is pretty cool, you can also get price alert on Telegram here if you want to choose that. And last but not least, and probably the kind of a new feature which we launched this year is LCX Smart Order. And that's where we've seen a lot of increase of interest. So you can see all the connected exchanges you're running. You can go and sell it and buy, and then you can immediately see kind of the best bid and best ask of each asset. And then if you go kind of in past transactions, you can see then, for example, this had been executed here on KuCoin directly. Sometimes if you don't have enough assets on the exchanges, then sometimes splitting. So like here on Huobi or KuCoin immediately. So there's some kind of smart algorithm behind that you always get the best price. And yeah, so that's LCX terminal.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Definitely interesting overview. So one question I do have. So for those who also would like to ask questions, please go to menti.com. So menti.com. The code is 217946. That's 217946. And once again, that's menti.com to ask your questions. Okay. All right. So one question I do have for you. So looking at the platform, it is pretty cool that a professional trader can go on the platform and basically trade across various exchanges, and it has the smart order routing, right? So is this in a way competing with Tokenomics that was purchased by Coinbase recently?
Good question. So at the moment, this is kind of a self-catering service. So you have to set up accounts at the certain exchanges, and then you can connect with the APIs. What Tokenomics did is they're a prime broker, and that's exactly something which we're working on at the moment. So we'd like to facilitate a different way of trading, that you sign up only once at our account with LCX, you deposit funds there, and then you can trade. And that's in the process at the moment, and one of our kind of key milestones with LCX Terminal, that once we got this approvals and become kind of a prime broker, we will be able then to just unlock that very simply. So the technology is already there, and the licensing process is running at the moment.
Okay, all right. And then my next question. So I in the past have used market makers to basically sell OTC, where you basically get them, let's say you have crypto that you would like to sell or buy without having to move the price on exchanges. So could this also be used to do that? Like, is it in a way replacing having to sell OTC or to market makers to avoid kind of the inefficiencies around having to sell on one exchange?
Partly yes, because you could split the trades across multiple exchanges that you're not influencing it. And so in terms of liquidity management, it's really something which is reducing risk in a way, because you're not exposed to one particular exchange, and you're splitting it up. At the same time, you're touching, I think, two very interesting aspects which are also being developed by our development team at the moment. The first thing is we are working on smart bots, including an arbitrage bot and a market making bot. So there will be, like, on the left side next to smart order, there will be a different tab where you can then activate and subscribe to smart bots. This is developed together with a very experienced trading team called System 9. They with the founder coming from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, like big trading history, and really one of these gray-haired trading experts, helping a lot to build that smart bot and integrating it here. And the second aspect is the partnership which we announced with Lunar Crush, where we're getting social signals right here next to this news desk. And there we will be, as far as we know, kind of the first trading platform who will be integrating social signals right next to the markets page.
Okay, and then could you also talk about is it partnership with Binance?
Yeah, I can give you the full background here. So we've started out 2018 working with Binance. In that regard, we wanted to help them to set up an entity in Liechtenstein. And we did. So we did did a lot of legal work and compliance work to make sure everything is proper for a fiat on-ramp. Back in the days, Binance wanted to do like 20 different fiat on-ramp on and off ramps. And so there was a company incorporated in Liechtenstein, which is a subsidiary of almost completely majority owned by Binance, a small part by LCX. And this partnership completely failed, I have to say. So we lost a lot of money and efforts, and I got some more gray hair around it. So we learned a lot, and especially around compliance and regulation, it's tough to turn one of the market leaders around to make them kind of compliant and regulated. And it failed. And so basically, as a startup, there are always setbacks and failures. And the ability for us was really, how can we overcome it as quickly as possible? And then we had to kind of reset the company back in 2018, and early 2019, we did a kind of a fresh start, launching LCX Terminal, and really focus on our own aspects and choosing the partners very selectively and very wisely now. So
but question,
learning experience, and yeah, kind of as a technology startup, sometimes you have setbacks as well, which you have to overcome.
Now, was that due to regulation, or what was the exact challenge in terms of bringing Binance to that region?
Well, there are several aspects to it, and I don't want to go into detail. But at the end of the day, Liechtenstein has a very high reputation. It has a AAA rating at Standard & Poor's, and the regulator, the government, and us, as we have Liechtenstein in name, is protecting this high reputation very heavily, and we can't let anything kind of just let go or be not very precise. So everything which we do now is goes very deep in terms of regulation and compliance. And I think that this was kind of one of the key aspects why this had been not working out the right way.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Okay, so let's take some questions from the audience here. So just give me one second here to go through the questions. Okay, so here's one from the audience. So why the hesitation on a tier 1 exchange after you said you would be listing on one?
Mm-hmm. So that's in regards to our listing strategy and adoption of LCX token. Now our token had been listed at Liquid in October last year. And since then, we added a variety of different exchanges. I have to say that the teamwork with Liquid is very healthy and good. They've been also now complying with the new Singapore regulation. Another kind of very strong partner is IDEX. And as you probably have heard, they're building IDEX 2.0, and there's also some news coming out in regards to our partnership with them over there. So I think we are strengthening our partners, Liquid and IDEX. Then there are some new exciting exchanges like Bidesk, for example, which we also closely engage with the CEO. And they have an incredible good technology, and we are kind of exploring what else we could do with this kind of fast growing exchange. And then obviously what we said also in the last AMA I did, tier one exchanges, additional tier one exchanges are coming. We already see Liquid as a tier one exchange, and IDEX, I think as the leading DEX, also as a tier one exchange. But we want to have additional ones, and there are discussions ongoing. I can't comment on it. We have a few documents on the table from some of the exchanges, and we are just negotiating. And also, it is kind of a high priority for us to get that, then announced soon. But there's no time frame for it.
Okay. Now, I mean, I do have a few other follow-up questions. So, looking here on CoinMarketCap, there are, I would say, several exchanges that the platform has. I also see. Do you have a liquidity pool for the token, the LCX token? Uniswap? Yeah, like your own pool, or is that maybe just other users that have established that?
We support with market making, so we are not taking part in any active trades or something like that. This would be kind of market manipulation. But what we do is standard market making, similar to all the stock exchanges as well. Mm-hmm. So we provide liquidity on both sides of the trades, and in particular, we are focusing now on the kind of main exchanges at the moment to provide a good trading liquidity on the order book, and kind of deepening the volumes over there. And we've seen a good increase in volume over the last 2 months. And overall, the development since January was really tremendous. I think everybody who had been involved with the token itself had been, I think it was very positive development, let's say it this way. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we really see adoption also, because the token is a very good marketing instrument. Everybody who's first came across LCX token said, okay, what can I do with it? They sign up at lcx.com, they use our trading platform, and then with the things to come, I think there's a huge interest at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Now, is there some overlap in terms of what you do with, I think it's called Swissborg, which is also building some kind of, I think, fiat on-ramp that connects into several exchange trading platforms?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly what Swissborg is doing. At least they have something in common, which is an office in Zug. So I'm in Zug at the moment, but I don't know all the details over there. What we see is that there are a few security token platforms and issuing platforms being created. I think Tokenai is doing a great job. Also Securitize, of course, the whole Israel community there and founders very strong. Polymath, T0, and so on. But most of them are focusing on the technology side and solution. There's also a kind of tremendous smart technology platform in Liechtenstein called We Own. They're focusing on SMEs, so kind of small, middle-sized companies, tokenizing their shares and everything. So the platform is very sophisticated, but what is really a bottleneck, and that's where we really emphasize is on the legal aspects of it. So you need to set up and leverage the legal infrastructure as well, because once you're going in a regulated security token or digitalized financial asset, you need to have certain licenses, and to also make sure that the trading and the management of the whole token is compliant. And that's, I think, where we really stand out, having that combined, and we're not letting anything on our platform on board, so it's not like a self-service. but rather at the moment we are taking it project by project. We are evaluating, looking at these projects, and therefore also my experience as a venture capitalist is very helpful because we know how to do due diligence on the projects, go deep, and really see that we offer something which is not only a good investment, but actually something which is super successful, hopefully in the future.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving on to next questions. Let me just go through this real quick. Give me a second. Okay, I think let's avoid the price questions. Okay, yeah, so we have given you guys action. People were asking on the demo, so we have done that. Okay, so
one aspect to the demo, which I just wanted to also share is what is something which is currently online on our platform as well is the price services. And that's something pretty interesting. At first, like when we announced it, everybody thought, okay, what's this all about? But we are publishing 4 price services at the moment. So a Bitcoin reference price in euro and US dollars, as well as the Ethereum reference price in euro and US dollars. You can see that there's always published like 3 historical dates for it. And it's calculated based on the kind of a deep methodology report on how we do this, how we calculate it. And there's a price every day. And that's pretty important because it's the fundamental basis for any future project. For the technology development, which we're now doing, we're actually already using these kind of price oracles for our future products. And as you know, the CME in Chicago had been building the Bitcoin futures also based on a reliable price. The key difference here is that this is part of our role as a price service provider, which is a regulated role under the Blockchain Act in Liechtenstein. So therefore, as far as we know, we're the only licensed price service provider, kind of an official price. So, and why does it matter? It matters, so for example, if you buy a real estate with Bitcoin, you probably have like a paper contract or anything you sign, and you put in a conversion rate. And if the conversion rate can be manipulated in any way, then the whole contract would fall apart. And this is very important if you tokenize any assets in the future, that you have something which is reliable and enforceable, and where you can go back in time and say, like, what was the conversion rate on that day? And given the fact that the Blockchain Act is now in full force, token buyers, token purchasers then have a lot of rights. So like it's an investor protection in a way. And they can basically go to the court of Liechtenstein and then enforce their rights. So if there's something going wrong, there's a pure, like a real risk kind of overview, clarity in terms of legal rights, and then also can be enforced. And I think that's a key part here. And what we are now currently working on is exploring some other partnerships on how we could make it more public to other developers as well. So we are currently putting all the data in our own database, but there are some ideas, and there might be something coming up also there in the near future.
Now, quick question. So somebody in the comments is asking or commenting, this seems kind of like a price oracle, kind of like Chainlink. So could you maybe kind of compare the two?
Yes. So Chainlink does aggregate data providers. So they're getting their kind of information from reliable sources, like even from Bloomberg or kind of other partners, and then they make it kind of put it on the Chainlink blockchain, make it available in a single API request. So it's very neat and fast to implement within development projects. And that's, I think, a pretty smart approach. And we're looking at a couple of kind of price oracles and solutions over there to provide our data source also in a more public way. At the moment, it is like published on our website, but there's no way that you can implement it in an API request immediately. So that's something we're exploring, and we are just talking to a couple of these kind of blockchain. Public blockchains where we could probably publish the price there as well. So I think that the idea is there. It's all about priorities and focus. And so we're exploring some ideas, but also the core focus for us is really to get the STO launchpad filled with exciting projects. That's key priority. Getting all the legal work done, the testing, and the whole compliance infrastructure, going deep in KYC and ML checks and everything what we have to do over there.
Okay, so one other question I have. So if an American project wants to launch on your STO platform, what do they need? Is it just like a Reg D, a Reg A plus? What's the requirement for other companies outside of that region?
Yeah. So the first step, if you're interested to tokenize something with a security token, you can reach out to us. We have hello@lcx.com as a touch base. There's also a form at the website STO Launchpad, which you can fill out. So, and then we'll take a look. So at the moment, we are selectively onboarding projects, and there we really see it as kind of the investor perspective and the token purchaser perspective, because we want to launch something which everybody wants. So for example, if somebody comes with an ugly painting from an artist nobody knows, it can be tokenized, but who cares? Nobody will buy it. And a lot of these projects which we currently see in the market are very similar. So I don't know, there's a cattle farm being tokenized or a real estate project, but it's hard to market it if there's not a community already. So that's why we focus on the team, on the company. We look in like what will be tokenized, and the most important part is really, is there an investor community? Is there an interest to invest? And then our role would be really to unlock the potential there and say, okay, we have the kind of legal aspect to it, the tokenization engine on our technology side, and then we can unlock that and make it available to investors who already like be thrilled to if it would be in the market already. And we hope that we have identified some of these projects already. So some are in the entertainment and film industry, where obviously there's a huge outreach of due to the celebrities involved in the movies. Then we're looking at gaming, entertainment, and also in some companies where we could tokenize some assets of a company or future profits, for example. But there needs to be a need. Like if it's just because of the purpose of tokenizing anything, I think it won't be successful. So that's one part of your question. The second part you asked around what is needed on the regulatory side. So the companies come to us, and then we help them go through the whole process. What we do is we issue the tokens under the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act and the regulatory basis in Liechtenstein, which gives us a framework which regulates from the token issuing to token generation, custodianship, and everything. So there are 10 roles there in these laws, which kind of describe the whole value chain of tokenization. And we go through these aspects and do it on behalf of our client in that regard, on behalf of this project. And then we already have kind of a good legal basis to offer that within Europe. And for the US, we are exploring ways of doing a Reg D or Reg A plus, or like other ways depending on the size of the offering. But first priority is to get it right over here in Europe, and then as a second step, also in the US.
All right, sounds great. Okay, so let's check in with our audience in the comments and just see how we're doing here.
Yeah.
So this is going out to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. So wherever you are, if you like this stream, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So quick, what's up, Alpha Diallo? Welcome on the stream. Stan the Man, Chicago, Dan, welcome to the stream. Imran, Steve, welcome. We have Crypto Adventure on Twitter. We have a wow. So lots of people are here on the stream. Okay, awesome. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so let's take a comment from YouTube from Crypto Brands. So he's asking, what are your plans to expand? Could you kind of maybe delve deeper into this in terms of expansion plans?
Yeah. Okay, so probably to answer this question, let me go one step back. And I think what is dear to my heart is I've seen so many startups developing in Europe, but a lot of them have been very successful in the US, in Silicon Valley, because there's an infrastructure where you have risk capital, you have people who are really betting at a topic, and then you get much more capital. But there are some companies in Europe who really stand out because they hustle more, they try more, and they basically build a more sustainable business model. And what we've seen in the blockchain and crypto sphere in the past years, it's really that the business models are not so sustainable. They typically are based on just ideas and not on making it reality. That's why our focus really is on delivering a step-by-step approach and really taking it from an entrepreneurial perspective to build a sustainable business. So what does it mean? We have a vision, obviously, to tokenize any asset, to build a security token exchange, and then do much more in terms of financial, future financial assets and everything. But the core is that we need to build up a business where we generate revenues, where we have happy clients. So that's where we're exploring. The first step is the LCX terminal, building that. Second is now rolling out assets which are exciting, where everybody is happy to invest, and also where they get a good return of investment, and these projects are successful. So this is really our core element. And at the same time, I've been talking about how can we engage and improve the functionalities of LCX terminal. So that's what we're doing as well with bots, social signals, and everything. So improving the existing product. And then obviously what I think you can imagine is that LCX terminal is already a perfect trading interface. It has everything what you need for an exchange. So going into this prime brokerage role to offer trading across multiple exchanges with one account is one key element. Another element which we're working on is really the security token exchange itself. But this only makes sense to launch once we have liquidity and good assets also to list on. So it is really the moment, an exciting moment in time where European companies could stand out. It really doesn't matter if you're in Silicon Valley or elsewhere anymore. And with the regulation we have here in Liechtenstein and all the projects here in Crypto Valley in Switzerland, it's really the opportunity for digital Europe to stand out. And that's what we are trying to do. And actually the tool you're using, Menti, is also from a very smart Swedish entrepreneurial team. I know them very well and had been looking at that during my time as a VC. It's a fantastic company, and a lot of success story which you would not even believe on are born in Europe, like Spotify, Red Bull, the energy drink, and so on. So a few good examples, and we hope that we will be among one of these successful companies now coming out of Europe.
All right, so let's check in with the audience again and pick a question. Elias Intoy says, hello, Crypto Dreamers on Twitter. Okay, thank you. Sergey says, perfect, awesome stream, ready to share. Thank you, Sergey. Okay, just give me a second here. Okay, so people are asking when the Wesley Snipes Daywalker Fund STO will be released. I'm not sure. Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing, yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So we're closely working with Wesley Snipes, his whole production team and everything since September last year, or even longer. But we announced it in, I think, September, October last year that we are collaborating officially. And we had been working on a prospectus for 25 million security token project. And this will be so-called the DMA, so the Daywalker Movie Assets token, and it will give you right for future profits of movies Wesley Snipes and his team is producing or where they're involved. So there I had been a company which is in corporation at the moment or information, which is Daywalker AG. It's a Liechtenstein-based production house, which we only incorporated for the purpose of producing movies. And the production house is now issuing this security token together with us. And so it's really for us. It took also much longer than we thought it would be, but it's been a learning journey. And with the first project we are creating out, we have to get it right. So we can't make any mistakes. So we rather take a little bit more time to make everything sure that it's right. But we invested a lot to make that happen, and I can see the finish line. I can tell you. So it's very exciting. We're just thinking about when's the right time to get it started. But there, like this fall, also, and the end of the year, there are some cool projects coming up. For example, I don't know if you watched Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes. I love the movie with Prince from Zamunda and things like that. So there's Coming to America times #2 coming out, and the premiere will be December 10 or something like that. So early December. So there are a few cool projects coming up. Unfortunately, Daywalker is not part of this movie, but hopefully in other movies. But you could imagine that the potential profits of such a product or in security token can be really immense, as we are enabling the first time that the audience and the fans can really be part of this movie production from the beginning till the end. And this is really what I said about unlocking interesting assets, because the movie industry is like $100 trillion industry. It's really a huge entertainment industry, and there are exciting assets or investments which are typically only accessible to large investors, like either your Jack Ma or you have a big production house or studio you can invest, but it's not for the normal people. And the projects which are on like crowdfunding platforms are like amateur movies who are not really interesting. You want to be in the next investor of Black Panther 2 or something. That would be exciting. The next Marvel movie or something like that. And that's, I think, what we're trying to achieve there, step by step. And to sum up, we can see the finish line, and it won't be the only film project. We are also talking to another production house, or like we signed documents there that's ongoing, and there's some exciting things coming up.
All right, sounds good. Okay, all right. Let's go back to Menti and see what other questions we have from the audience. Okay. Okay, so I think we covered who can participate in the STOs already during the show. Okay, so next question. Is it possible to add exchanges like Uniswap to the terminal, maybe in a different section?
We're exploring opportunities to do that. Uniswap and like IDEX are decentralized exchanges, so there's some complexity with it, but with IDEX 2.0, as far as I know, very possible to do that, because then the APIs are much more sophisticated. With Uniswap, I don't know. Yeah, so good idea, and we can take it to the kind of evaluation list.
Yeah, I mean, now, were you looking at version 1 or version 2 of the platform?
Version 2.
Version 2? Okay, yeah, because I mean, that's currently the most popular DEX at the moment, I mean, especially with all the DeFi frenzy. So I think if you guys are able to add that, that would be a big win. But obviously there is the whole compliance issue with that DeFi. Okay, all right. Yeah. Next question. Let me go through here. Okay, the discount is great, but are there any plans to adjust the tokenomics to further increase the value of the token in the ecosystem?
With the LCX token is structured as a utility token, and so therefore there are no aspects of profit sharing, something tied to this particular token. It's really seen as a voucher which you can use within the ecosystem. You can now use it to pay the subscription fee at LCX terminal, but in the future there will be fees involved with trading assets. There are fees for subscribing security tokens, and they're like in everywhere there will be any fee. We also offer to pay with LCX, and there will be discounts involved. So the utility functionality will be expanding. Also, we have been exploring some other ways, or also we've seen partners who are just accepting LCX token as well. And so this is kind of one aspect to it. The other aspect is all revenues we generate with the token. So if you pay your subscription now, you put it in the pool, and then every quarter we burn 100% of these tokens. The reason for that is that we see it as a voucher. So if you have a voucher to go in a cinema, you can also only use it once. So that's at the moment how we see the functionality, that once we receive the payment of LCX token, we destroy it. We are publishing the token burns every quarter in full transparency. You can see, so the kind of total supply is going down.
Now, is the total supply fixed or no?
It was 1 billion LCX token. I think over 50% is really in circulating supply since we started, and the token supply had been reduced to 900 something million.
Okay, so
over there.
Okay, so if you're burning tokens every quarter, now is that also fixed, or because can they happen? So down the road, could you possibly run out of tokens? If basically, I'm asking.
Yes, good question.
I think we lost the camera.
That's a good question as well. So we had been thinking about that a lot, and at the moment, so we want to keep it as long as possible. In that regard, that we have the opportunity to do the token burns on a more longer time. And the Tokenomics, which we published, we said we do it at least for a year, and then we see. At the moment, it works out quite fine. So we basically, see that the metrics are the value is going up. And then if you have a mathematical model, so in theory, we could keep burning without, and the value will increase, and then basically it could just like work out over the time. But we are just looking at the kind of token economics and the mathematical models. At the moment, it's no issue, but we might either reduce the percentage of burn or stop with the burns overall. So I think there are a few options there, but we really see all token holders as our community and our clients, our user base, and we want to serve them with great value, and then also giving them the opportunity to be part of our journey.
All right, sounds good. Okay, all right, let's go on to the next question. Okay, so this says the Financial Market Authority Liechtenstein FMA points out that LCX AG, the dues registration number, then he puts a number FL dash whatever, has not been licensed by the FMA and has not submitted an authorization request. Do you have any thoughts on this question or comment?
Yes. So that's a publication on September 5 or something like that last year, 2019. And we also commented on it on our blog, so you can see our response. So there, we are exposed to a large audience, and a lot of people are requesting information and saying like, are we licensed? Are we licensed? And everybody can send an email to the FMA, and I think they take it very seriously. So they informed us that they will announce something like that. on the website because we have not been licensed at that point of time, and we could not have been licensed because the laws in the Blockchain Act had been passed in October, and they're in place since January this year. So there, as a blockchain service provider or somebody working with tokens or anything, there had not been any regulation. The financial regulations, like anything which is in regards to e-money or banking services or something like that, we're not touching at all with any of our products. So it was no surprise to us, but obviously everybody's asking around it. And what we'll now are planning to do larger announcements in regards to our licenses, because we had been already approved what is called the grandfathering. You can say like a pre-approval of some of the things we do as a token issuer, as a price service provider, as a token generator, as a custodian, licensed custodian or compliant custodian, and so on. So these things are kind of in this grandfathering mode, and we are just waiting to get the official registry being updated there, that we will be also listed at the FMA website with these new laws. So in that regard, it's old stuff. And the new update will be coming. Everything what we currently do on our platform is fully compliant. We also need to do things like due diligence requirements. In German, it's called Sorgfaltspflicht. Things what we certainly have to treat very carefully and which we take very seriously. So it's in regards to blockchain analytics, KYC, verification, everything which goes into anti-money laundering regulation. This is something which everybody as a kind of virtual asset service provider or company like us needs to take care of seriously.
Okay, so I mean, is there a place on the site where people can maybe view the license?
Not yet. So there's a summary about our trade license which we got back in 2018. So that's kind of the basic one, which gives us the opportunity to trade crypto to crypto elements, which we now do with kind of converting BTC and ETH to LCX token on our platform. But you know, the Liechtenstein jurisdiction, the regulator, are overwhelmed with the response from applications at the moment. So we had been filed very early. We prepared for that, and we expanded our compliance team. And we hope that soon we will be then will be able to link to these licenses to the official website as well.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So moving on to the next question.
Probably one comment to it. We also explored, like, before I incorporated LCX, we looked at different other jurisdictions: Estonia, Gibraltar, Malta, Singapore, Hong Kong, and so on. And I was ready to move everywhere, as I'm kind of an entrepreneur who goes all into that. And I moved to Switzerland only to incorporate LCX. And so we believe that the regulation in Liechtenstein is probably the most sophisticated, and it might be the most exciting jurisdiction as of today, but it differs very much from the other licenses you can get. In other jurisdictions, you can basically pay a basic fee and you get an exchange license, quite simple. In Liechtenstein, it's really a process. They are protecting their reputation, as I said. It took us like months to prepare all the documents. We had to expand the team on the compliance side. We invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the legal process. And so it gives us also quite a tough barrier of entry for other market players. And we are just going through it, hustling every day. Yeah, we are updating the community and everything in a very transparent manner. But when I look down the road, like in end of this year, a couple of years on the road, this will be really a differentiator. Like, if we get it right now, the fundamentals, building the business model, having a successful revenue streams with LCX Terminal, then we have a sustainable business which we can grow.
Okay, all right.
What are the other questions?
Oh yes, yeah, the always questions. Okay, so next question. Can we have a hint at the companies that are wanting to tokenize their assets on your platform?
Yes. Uh, Let me give you some hints. So we have roughly $100 million dollars in volume now in our pipeline. So assets, like different projects who are would be generating token issuance above 100 million easily. And we're just separating on like where's the market fit. The project we are looking at really is first entertainment area. We have now deep talks with in the gaming space. You know, one of our key partners is Animoca Brands. They invested in CryptoKitty. They're doing blockchain gaming in based in Hong Kong. Super experienced team. Yatsui, great entrepreneur and close friend since a long time. And so we're exploring the opportunities there, going in NFTs or even some kind of true assets like game licenses, something like that, which really gives return to everybody involved in a game. Another aspect is we are looking at real estate projects, but also there needs to fulfill a certain need. If there's like no buyers out there, it doesn't make sense. So we're taking that very carefully. And the third aspect is exciting companies where we are tokenizing future profits. And in that regard, we are not looking at the kind of the early stage startup with a PowerPoint presentation, but really about projects who have real revenues, a great product, where you can not only become token holder and gain a return of investment, but you also probably get a great product next to it, or you can buy the product or get a discount or whatever. So these companies are, for example, there's one company who does over, I think, 2.5 million in revenues. Last year, they have a sales pipeline filled. It's very profitable, good business, growing to 60 to 80 million in the next couple of years in terms of revenues. So high growth opportunity. And we're taking that step by step. But the vision would be really to do more and more, and then probably do one STO a week or something like that.
Okay, now I mean, so in terms of doing one STO a week, is there enough quality to do that? In terms of just quality projects or companies?
Absolutely. It's when you look at the company space, we would take it very carefully. I think as a VC, you're looking at thousands of companies and invest in like 3-4, and so you need to select a lot. But in terms of assets which are out there, which are kind of locked to the retail consumers in the mass market, there are plenty of $1 trillion of opportunities. So this could be financial assets which are typically only available to institutional investors and large investors, which could be then shared in a kind of a fractional ownership model or tokenizing it. And I think that's where a lot of very interesting investment products will be available. And there, the derivatives market is 500 trillion. It's much larger than stock market and larger than real estate. So that's really a big opportunity there.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the next question. We are about to wrap up the show, probably in about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so let me just go through these questions and try to find a good one. Okay. How do you see the landscape evolving with the incumbent players, Fidelity, NASDAQ, who knows, in the near future, possibly adding digital assets? Is this a threat to LCX?
So I don't think so. I think every company who's successful in that space will help us to accelerate our business. So, for example, we are supporting other Liechtenstein companies in that space. I think I admire them, what they've achieved. And for example, I heard that some competitors or so-called competitors are not going the compliant route. They kind of canceled their projects in the security tokens. Open Finance did some announcements. Neufund did some announcements. We didn't hear much about Swarm recently. So, and that's actually sad. So I'd love to support them, because if they're successful, we will be also super successful. So if, for example, JP Morgan working on the stable coin, or has launched a JPM coin, if they would be going in security tokens and things like that, it would really accelerate our growth. And we have an advantage on many fronts, and have been since kind of time-wise, technology-wise, and whatever. So it could be a strong partnership with these kind of incumbents, and it would help us.
Okay, so let's maybe kind of expand on that, because people from the comments, Aftab says, who is your competition in the space, and what is the competitive advantage you have?
Mm-hmm. So the key, as of today with LCX Terminal, kind of key direct competitors, probably Caspian Tech in US, who've built something. Togomi I see as a competitor. I see Coinigy as well, who just providing this user interface. And as explained, that's for us a way of building a user base, which is using our platform, where we can already create a value. The second area where we're competing with is token issuing platforms. So there are technology players like Tokeny, there's Polymath, there are players like T0, like Open Finance, what else, Securitize, and these guys are like all enabling security tokens to become a reality. And there I see them not like they're all competitors. We are going after the same goals, but the market is so big, there will be plenty of space for everybody. And the last aspect is the exchange itself, security token exchange. And there we are obviously competing with the ones who are already in the market. So Coinbase might get regulatory approvals to go into security tokens. There are the crypto exchanges like Binance, OKX, and so on.
CoinList as well, maybe.
They're like all exploring some things there, and obviously it's, even if they don't serve security tokens, or probably will never do in the future, they have crypto assets, interesting assets to invest in, and so that's kind of this crypto or digital assets exchange area. We are differentiating ourselves strongly with the aspect of, first of all, we care about our community base. We want to deliver good assets, digital assets, which we vet in detail, which we go through details on diligence to really serve something which works. And the last aspect on the is probably our jurisdiction and the legal aspects we're working on. I think that's where we now have over 2 years of experience with the laws. It really stands out. Liechtenstein to be probably the most exciting jurisdiction at the moment. We are there trying to leverage that. And in terms of growth plans, I mean, if other jurisdiction will come up with a similar law, and there's some exploring, it might be an opportunity for us to go there as well. But then we also have an advantage because we've been through this kind of process of getting a compliant, regulated platform up and running.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, so going through the other questions here, let me find a few others. Okay, so we did have Monty give us a demo of the platform. So for those who missed it, just go back into the beginning of the live stream. Okay, let me. Okay. All right. So this question, can you explain to us more about your partnership with Vector Space and Smart Buckets?
Mm-hmm. So Vector Space had been referred to us by one of our advisors. We have an advisory network which includes Don Tapscott from the Blockchain Research Institute, Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, who I just talked to earlier this week. And so we are leveraging this network tremendously. And David Mickelson, who is a tremendous social entrepreneur running Refugees United, they're serving a lot of the African community in terms of what they do, and basic financial services are not existing there. So they are exploring a lot around blockchain. To come to the point, so their friends or connected or something to Vector Space introduced us. We immediately saw a match because Vector Space has a tremendous AI-powered tool to create instant smart baskets, event-driven and so-called how they call theme investing.
What's a smart basket?
Smart baskets. So
What's
you can
that?
say, for example, you can go through any data analytics. They do this for stocks already, and we are now building that for LCX terminal. That you can say, I want to see all tokens who have a jurisdiction of Europe, or we can say all tokens who did a token burn last week. All tokens where there had been an AMA or there's an AMA coming up. Or other things. So they have a tremendous kind of a good database of where they run through the AI tool, and then it gives the results based on the hash or hashtag of the asset. So therefore, we can classify that, and we have announced a partnership. And as explained, we're taking our partnership very seriously. We are selectively only working with some of the best people in the market, and this is a strong partner as well, where we are now in deep discussions on actually make it happen, and we hope that we can bring something to light in the next 1 or 2 months for our LCX terminal community.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you to the audience for asking all those questions. It was great. Now we do have 3 other questions we always ask on the show. So it's time to put you in the hot seat. So the first question we have for you: what are 3 books you've read that have changed your life?
Okay, so 3 books. So let me think about it. I think. First of all, when I had been young, I always admired entrepreneurs. So I loved the stories around Richard Branson. So Losing My Virginity was really one of these books which opened my mind for entrepreneurship and doing things you love. I think you're paid for the amount of pressure you can handle. And that's what I also see here. We're working hard to make that happen. So Losing My Virginity. Second book, from Neil Strauss, American writer. The book is called Emergency. Emergency is taking you through how to survive in emergency. We know last month had been tough, so I took out the book again. I thought you're right, how to survive in the woods or something like that. And the third one, by somebody who I met at the World Economic Forum, Yuval Harari, Israel writer, and he wrote 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Tremendous book for me as being involved as a futurist, really eye-opening as well.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, then next question we have for you: besides family and friends, who are 3 people in history, past or present, that have inspired you?
Okay, 3 people who inspired me. Probably going back in history of my entrepreneurship life. I think seeing when we had been there in this advertising agency, seeing all the people there, especially the founder of this advertising agency, I already saw this is something which I find very interesting and inspiring to be an entrepreneur. But then more recently, I think people who inspired me, certainly Yat Sui, one of our partners, Animoca Brands. He's an entrepreneur also since the 90s. I know him since over 10 years. He brought Animoca brands to be traded publicly in the market. He sold previous companies. He's in the board of the BAFTA, the British Film Awards. He's a musician and like very tremendous, successful entrepreneur and a good coach for us as well. Another person who I mentioned before, Jimmy Wells, I think very inspirational person. We have these calls from time to time to do an update. And I can tell you, he's blockchain averse, like he's a skeptic. And you need these kind of people who say like, okay, why is that relevant? And that's what we see a lot in the crypto space. They're tokenizing something, but nobody cares. Really. It's not something which is bad before. It's not getting better being tokenized. So he's questioning these things. So in terms of kind of three people, yeah, this kind of personal friend, entrepreneur from the 90s, Yat and Jimmy Wells, like the three which pop up to my mind.
Okay. All right. So last question. What are 3 actions you've taken that have changed your life?
Okay. So first action is probably not something at just one point of time. It's I've been traveling a lot. I visited over 50 countries. We opened up offices with my futurist company in Tokyo, Beijing, New York. Headquarters was in New York. I lived in Beijing. So this curiosity. So if you say like one action would be really being open, being curious. I've been working with musicians, with Donovan at this futurist period, and then the investment experience as well. So this curiosity is something which is now super helpful to have. Thinking out of the box and kind of cross industry, which is now needed to build kind of the next player in the fintech space, like what we're doing with LCX. Second topic, I would say, action is go all in LCX, really, like moving to Switzerland, opening up in Liechtenstein, working with the government and regulators over there. And I can tell you the time had been super intense. I had been doing a lot of things in the past, but it was never that focused on something. Here we have a focus where we want to deliver on our vision. So the focus is one thing, and I've put a lot of things aside besides like friends who I have not seen for a long time, and really focus on building LCX. And the third action point is working with the best people in this industry and pick the partners wisely. I told you that we also make some mistakes, so picking partners wisely is super important. And another aspect is to it kind of fuck average. So really stand out, be tremendous. And so if I would sum this up, it's all about love. So with my 3 actions taken that transform my life, probably curiosity, focus, and love.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Now, where can people learn more about you and your company?
So first of all, we are at lcx.com. It's at LCX on Twitter. We have a Telegram channel. You can also join. Then myself is at Monty Metzger on Twitter. I also have my personal blog, monty.de, in English and German. Didn't have time to publish so much due to focus. But I do a lot of Twitter usage. You can find me there.
All right. Well, Monty, it's a pleasure. And thank you for being here on the show. And if you like this interview.
Ian, may I jump in? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd love to ask you a question as well.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
I know it's an interview, but I'm so curious also for everybody here. Like, it's the first time we speak. I think I think it's tremendous important what you do with Tokenomics, what you're building up there in terms of bringing transparency to the market. What have been your kind of 3 most important actions you take in your career? Those are not in
In
your
my
life.
career.
Like
In my career.
once you got in
Yeah.
crypto, where were these turning points?
Well, I would say, I mean, the big turning points, one was quitting my job at IBM, right? So going all into crypto back in 2017. So September 2017, I basically told my boss, because actually my boss was in the process of changing my region, right? Because IBM every 6 months, there's basically a restructuring. And it was basically time to restructure again. And I said, you know what? Let's not even bother, right? Because I want to go all into crypto, right? And I went all in, haven't looked back, and I think that's definitely been one of the biggest things that has really transformed my life. The other part that's really changed my life, I was in Tokyo, Japan. This was this was beginning of 2017, January 2017. I was there at the Ritz-Carlton, very tall hotel, skyscraper, had the skyline view of Tokyo, and I was there on vacation. And I felt like I was on top of the world, and I didn't want to leave Tokyo, but I had to go back. And I told myself, I'm young, I'm making good money, but I didn't feel like I was in control of my life, because at that point in time, despite all the success, somebody else controlled my time, and that's when everything shifted to, it's not just about making money, it's about controlling my time. And that's when I basically told myself, you know what, by the end of the year, I'm going to quit my job and become self-employed and really just kind of make my own money and be able to have the freedom to do whatever I want, when I want. And 9 months later, I was able to do that and go all into crypto. Then the third thing that has really changed my life, I would say, just experimenting. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always dabbled, right? So Tokenomics is not my first business. This is something I've been doing for a while. I've had other businesses I've tried that some were successful, some basically failed. But with each business, I always learn something new that I take to the next venture, right? So now with Tokenomics, this has been, it's basically on pace to be probably the most successful business I've launched, but it didn't just happen overnight. It basically happened from just putting in the work in the last 10 years or so, right? The last 10 to 15 years. So I would say just the compound effect of being an entrepreneur, of just testing ideas, having the ability to experiment with lots of different ideas and seeing what sticks, and then just kind of trying to learn from each failure. So I would say those are the three actions that have really changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, excellent. So yeah, I think a lot of things which really is about the overall journey of everybody, like finding something you love to work at, a passion, and also overcoming challenges and setbacks. And I didn't know much about all your journey, but obviously everybody has some ups and downs. And I think what is super important, if you're like, what I admire about your work is you focus, you kind of pivot sometimes on things, but like building this transparency is super important in the market. So I hope that there are others doing the same. And my kind of philosophy is really defeat your enemies with success. Mm-hmm. Just do something where you're successful, and then
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it will pay out.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends, crypto family. Let's go out there and evangelize crypto. With that being said, thank you, Monty. It was a pleasure having you on. And as we like to say, the moon is not the limit, to the moon and beyond. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.